guys, welcome back to Monster Talks. I'm excited for today's podcast. We got Gilbert Jorgenson in the house. What's up, Gilbert?
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, what's up, man? How have you been? We haven't talked in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. There's we've been doing a lot of things. We're working on a big project for the county right now. We were working on an event for Tex-Mex Motors with a scooter at the Plaza Film Festival. So it's kind of been like one thing after another. Not complaining, So
Yeah.
I know what it's like to, especially during COVID. We had no work, but it's a blessing, and we just got to work when we can. So I know the first quarter was a little slow for everybody, but now I think it's a feast or famine in this business. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
You know?
You're a big proponent for video here in town. I mean, you've probably been one of the ones pushing the hardest for the community, man. Like, what inspired you to do that, and like what spurred this? Because I know, like, you've done the advertising world, you've done film, you've done like the rental space. Like, what is it that keeps you coming back to like film and like educating that next generation?
We started a nonprofit, the Star Central Studios Learning Center. It's primarily to educate the next generation of filmmakers, broadcasters, you name it. The goal is to have people not leave El Paso that want to work in the film industry, to have a viable film industry here, that have ready to work here in El Paso. So I know the streamers have kind of changed the game as far as filmmaking. So
Yeah.
it used to be very Hollywood centric. And now shows and movies and features and documentaries are done in every city all over the world. And El Paso is no exception.
Yeah, I heard that Mark Wahlberg is kind of moving into Vegas, and they're starting a big old thing there, man. I think, a couple of years back it was Santa Fe, right? And then you've had Cruces. That there's some stuff brewing in Cruces, right, as well.
Yeah, there is at East Texas as well. San Antonio area has a giant sound stages being built right now. There's a lot of sound stages in Dallas. Texas film has been a little strange because I know that New Mexico kind of has a marketing edge on Texas because that's all they do is talk about film.
Yeah.
So you associate one with the other. So top of mind awareness. But Texas has a lot going on too. They just have so many other industries that doesn't really get the attention, or you don't really see the scope of what's actually happening in Texas.
Yeah. I'm noticing, well, I mean, just what you and your team have been doing is creating the buzz. I know recently, like everything that was going down with Tex-Mex and everything like that. What was your whole involvement in that? And like, how did that, do you know anything like from the back end, like how that came to be?
I know a little bit. So I guess how it came to be. So I think Scooter was approached by a producer, I want to say like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
To do a show. And I think originally it was going to be on the Discovery Channel. And then I guess they had a regime change there, and they got shelved, and they moved on to another producer. And I think it was going to go to the History Channel at that point, and then they shelved that. And then they went to Mario Lopez's company, and they had interest in doing it. And I think that's when they partnered up with a company called Mac Pictures, M-A-K, Mac Pictures, to produce it on Netflix, and they're about to go. And then COVID happened, so
Shit.
It's been
it's been brewing for years then, right?
Years and years and years and years. So the gentlemen at Mac Pictures, Will and Andy, are awesome. So they love El Paso. They based a show here.
Yeah.
There were talks about doing it like in East Texas, or but that would be logistically a lot harder to bring stuff from Mexico to Dallas than it is here. So it just made logistical sense. My involvement in the show is mostly like primary rentals and a glorified tour guide. Like, where's this at? Where's that at? Where's this at? So I'm happy to see my community and our community shown in a positive light.
Yep.
Instead of drug trafficking and narcos and everything else.
How long do you think it's going to take before they start shooting more movies here? Because there's been some clips and movies. I know recently I seen, I was trying to think of the name of the movie, but there was clips of El Paso, and actually real clips, because in a lot of movies they show, it's El Paso, but it's not really El Paso. How long do you think it's going to take before we start having some of that movement here? And I know because you're probably in the forefront, so you probably have more insight than.
Well, there was a buzz. So, like, well, first of all, like a lot of people don't realize what production crews are come to El Paso on a daily basis. You know,
Yeah.
I know Drew probably knows some, our film commissioner, and then the person that gets the call is the rental house.
Yeah.
So I think last year, I think HBO was here about 6 times, Netflix, Amazon, Blue Origin, uh, Amazon Films, Netflix, like you name it. It's like on a day-to-day basis. Like we're very busy at the
Really?
rental house.
Yeah.
So these crews come in and then they don't really. There's no press release. There's no like they're working on this or working on that. It's I guess it's my job as to be an evangelist. Be like, no, there is stuff going on here because the narrative is that there's nobody here that can do work in El Paso that's skilled enough to do that.
Yeah.
There's no film industry here. And that may have been true several years ago, but things have dramatically changed in the last few years.
How are you seeing the new talent coming in through the nonprofit and stuff like that? What are some of the programs you guys got going on?
We have a few programs in nonprofit. The first one, the biggest one, is the El Paso Film Fund. And we're going to announce that soon, so you get a sneak peek.
Yeah.
So what that does, it creates a nonprofit movie producer in El Paso. Judge Samaniego asked me the other day, like, how can we tap into that $200 million incentive that the state passed for filmmaking? Yeah. And I said, well, Judge, it's a very simple answer. You do productions that are over $250,000 to start tapping into that incentive money. Yeah. And he said, well, how do we do that? And it's like, well, there's no producers here, so we have to create a nonprofit one. So we're going to see if we can advocate for a film fund later, use that money to produce films that are at that level, at that budget. And all the money, of course, goes back to the community because they can't benefit from a nonprofit, plus the incentive money. So we bring some state money in. No producer in their right mind would ever give you profits from their movie, but that goes back in to start growing more infrastructure. Because the point is not to make money and be an executive producer. The point is to grow the next generation, have them work along professionals while getting paid on big feature films. That's the only way you're going to learn how to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And we need that experience, man. I mean, I think working alongside, when I was coming up early, working alongside guys that had been seasoned and more, I mean, that helps you grow dramatically. And so it's really cool. How often are you doing with the nonprofit? Is it something that somebody just walks off the street and comes up, looks you up, or is it something that you have classes periodically?
We're working with a couple entities right now. We have some kids from the Workforce Solutions. Yeah. And then the state actually pays them to be in our program. Nice. And then we have
so it's like a grant or yeah. And like financial aid, would you say?
Something like that, like a scholarship maybe.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then we have some kids from Riverside Tech. We went to Riverside for unrelated reasons. We decided to stop in and see how they were doing. And those kids want to actually volunteer and just be a fly on the wall during productions and learn. Nice. So we're actually on this production of the county, we're actually paying them as PAs.
It'd be cool to follow people along. I'm big on like social media and how we do film, or we do like reality shows or documentaries, but on social media, right? And you're having to do it like on short clips. It'd be cool to follow one of those students along their journey, like as they start. And
well, know, I think we had them now for about 4 or 5 months now. And
oh, really? So it's an ongoing class. It's not like a one-off thing where you just show up to.
They're there for a few months for the state one, and then they move on. And sometimes we hire them as freelancers to work on productions as needed. There's no 9 to 5s in the film industry, as you know. Yeah. So there's very little in the advertising agency, but definitely not for production because you don't do production every day.
Yeah, for sure. Yet. And how are you seeing the talent? Are you seeing some potential there, man? Do we have some people here locally that
we do have some very cool programs at the high schools, like certify them in all the post-production software, like Premiere and all the Adobe stuff. So they're like almost ready to go. They're like, you know, so we actually had to teach them a little bit about the film industry because most of the high schools and colleges have journalism and TV programs, but I don't know one that has a specific motion picture program. It's a very different style of production. Yeah. Being a journalist and doing a feature film.
Are you guys doing also the editing side of it, like showing motion graphics and stuff like that?
We do have a post-production facility. We have 2 state-of-the-art edit bays, a PC and a Mac. Yeah. And it has every software known to man on it. Nice. So our kids do play with it and do their own little films and interview each other. And try to do like films for the nonprofit. And, we're getting a grant soon from the Workforce Solutions that will actually help them produce other PSAs for other nonprofits and do stuff out in the field.
Yeah, and even maybe put together their portfolio and
Mhm.
stuff like that, which helps us. Like, I do look at education, like when we hire people here, but I also look at hunger and what have you done on your own? Like, if you already can come to the table with something, it speaks a lot, man. So I don't care if you're 18 or you're 24 and you're out of college, right? I want to, if I can see that and they have a portfolio, it already shows, it speaks volumes.
That's a good point. You know,
Yeah.
because the thing is, you can tell right away at that level, like who wants it and who doesn't.
Exactly.
Right away, just by their attitude on set. We're working like 12, 14-hour days on the mission trail video, and you'll see like who has the gasoline at the end of the day, and who's kind of like just making themselves scarce, and because it's a decision. They're young, and I'm not trying to force anybody to be in this industry. It's either you want to be it or you don't. So I'll give you a taste. It's like, yeah, there are 14-hour days, back-to-back days. It's shooting long hours. Like, is this what you want to do?
What do you see? Like, what are those things that you see? And like, if somebody's like brand new to the industry, what are the key qualities that you see in somebody that you're trying to hire on, or that you see like, okay, this guy's gonna be of value?
Because they ask questions.
Yeah.
It's like, and I don't mind, so
yeah.
We had a DP from Los Angeles on this project for the county. And he was very, very gracious in teaching kids like how it's done. I think he worked on Top Gun Maverick and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and with the biggest directors and the biggest DPs and the biggest people in the industry. And he had a lot of really positive things to say about El Paso, because I thought I was going to be like taking notes, and I did learn some things from him. But he just said like, you guys are more than equipped from some of the crew I work with, because those people are just a spoke in the wheel.
Yeah,
they do. I fix the camera every day for the DP. That's what I do for my life. I don't touch any lights. I don't do post-production. And here in El Paso, and probably cities similar size, we do everything.
Yeah. You have to learn everything.
He wasn't used to that.
Yeah.
And he was just like kind of shocked that we had a crew of a few people and some PAs, and they were gripping and lighting and prepping camera and and getting crafty and doing everything. So he said that I think he called us like the special forces of production in El Paso.
Nice, man. That's good to have that kind of feedback and stuff like that.
It is,
yeah. Anything that you do with film, man, always include us. And I'm glad that you came today, and I appreciate you coming, because I think that's what we have to do, like be able to spread the word and work with each other to use our resources to get the word out for stuff like that. I'm big on helping like the next generation. All these guys are young, man. So like they're the next generation of shit, the roads that you guys have paved, like, so
the brother wasn't gonna yell at them in our walkers, when they're doing this thing, meanwhile we're not gonna be around forever. It's gonna be you guys when we run the show in like 20 years here,
Exactly, man. I tell these guys, you guys are gonna surpass what we ever created, but like it starts from here, right? We're laying that foundation, and we're trying to give back, which there wasn't, I think when you and I got started, there wasn't a lot of that kind of support, right?
No, zero.
So, but that's good, man. That's why I'm excited about it, and I'm glad to have you on. I know you're working on the Mission Trail project. Can you give us a little bit of insight on that? Because I think that's a really cool project, because we're always trying to find like, okay, what are those things that make El Paso? And I think Mission Trail is one of those things.
If you haven't been out to the Mission Trail like recently, then you're gonna be completely surprised. That area is very, very developed. So there's all kinds of like there's like an award-winning James Beard nominated chef in Socorro. There's a winery there. There's a brewery there. There's a big dairy with a big petting zoo. There's like so much history. There's like some of the best artists in the country have galleries there.
Yeah.
And so if you go down there and take the First Fridays tour, it's free. I think the city does it, or the county does it. You get on the tour bus at the Sled Mission. They take you to all the places. It's a hop on, hop off thing. And everybody that worked on this production, when we wrapped principal photography, the next week they had all these visitors from out of town, and guess where they went? And they'd had a blast. Even our DP from Los Angeles like loved it. He wants to come back to the Mission Trail.
Nice.
So those are like the little gems that we have that we don't even know. There's people who are from El Paso, and we're not tourists in our own town. So
True.
hopefully this helps people get the word out.
For sure. Is that the purpose for this whole film? Is just to continue to build, just more tourism in El Paso, to get the word out, or is that
the first people to get the word out is people who live in our own city?
Yeah,
yes, this is a national ad. Yes, it goes out to everybody.
Okay.
And I think that
is it an ad that you're working on, or more like a documentary style, like both. Aerial America type?
Both. It's a doc style.
Okay, cool.
Tourism video.
Badass, man. I'm excited about that because we don't document it, and these missions are what, 1500s, 1600s.
It's I think it's late. Well, I guess the original ones were like 1600s, and they like flooded and they rebuilt them several times. These are probably like from 1680 to 1800s, depending on when they were rebuilt and put there. But a lot of history there. The Spanish were here. If you go to Santa Fe, New Mexico, they do a really good job of like saying like, this is where the Spanish culture was. This is where the Wild West was.
Yeah.
And they kind of make it seem like it's only there.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
Yeah.
They came through here first, and we kind of missed the ball of marketing that to the rest of the nation.
How do you gather information for a project like that? Are you having to be like the person that's going and interviewing people, talking to people, looking through old documents and stuff like that to be able to put it all together and piece it together?
Well, I have my journalism. I was a journalist for many years at Channel 7, so I'm putting that hat back on after so many years. Feels good. Lots of interviews, lots of research, lots of coordination. So we have an awesome assistant director, Jennifer Cedillo. She's the one that schedules everybody and our on the ground producer that organizes everything and tells a story and gets historians and bar owners and you name it.
Nice. And how did you get a start in this industry, or what inspired you to want to get into film?
Well, I was a journalist for a long time, for 10 years, and I started the advertising agency back in 2008, and I did advertising for a long time. And
what was the whole motivation there? Like, why? How did you go from journalism to say, I'm going to do my own agency?
Well, I guess I the last 3 years I was at the TV station. I worked in the promotions and creative services department. So I started doing like commercials and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And, being a journalist doesn't pay anything.
Yeah.
It's a cool job to have when you're in your 20s and learning. It kind of teaches you a lot of skills about like time management and working under pressure and getting things done on deadline.
Yeah.
But it's not something you can do the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I had enough of that. I went to the advertising world. I was like, oh, this is the same thing. But instead of having like 2 hours to do it, I have a week to do it. So it's more chill.
Yeah.
As I got older, and then now I guess back to the film industry is like, that's more I'm getting the itch again to tell people stories again, because commercials, you do that a little bit or you make it up. Or sometimes there's like testimonials. You get some opportunities to tell people stories in 30 seconds. But I think that doing projects like this is kind of like my roots, back to my journalism roots, and combining all the skills we learned along the way from production and journalism and motion picture, and combining that together to do a really, really high quality tourism doc style video.
That's badass. That's an exciting project. And what did you have family members that were in business, or it was just like, I'm going to just take the jump and I'm going to figure this out on the way down?
I come from a long line of engineers, so no, there's zero support from the family. That I got like, are you crazy? And there's no money in that. And there's too many people doing that. And my grandfather was the one that gave me the best advice I ever got. He said that never take advice from someone who hasn't accomplished what you're trying to accomplish.
Sure.
You're trying to be a filmmaker. Why are you going to ask your Thea about that? Ask another filmmaker. Tell them that they're the ones that will tell you how it is.
That's that's golden, man. That's good advice, because it's true. So many people try to give you their 2 cents, and they're working somewhere else that has nothing to do with what you're doing, right?
Some of it is well intentioned. They don't want you to take unnecessary risks, but some of it is like, it's just being haters. Like, they're like, if I can't do it, then you can't do it. Yeah. If I work at 9 to 5, then you can't do it. And so
and you did it, man, because building Leo Marketing was, has for a long time been a common name or a top name in El Paso when it comes to marketing. So you did it. So congratulations.
You as well, sir. You've been doing this a very long time. So we're still here. So
still trucking away. Like we were talking about the whole agency stuff. It is very tough work, and so anytime that I see somebody else that has done it, I always show that respect. And I tell these guys too, if you can do it for, I say 5 years, because you said 7, but yeah, I think if you can even last 5 years, man, and be profitable, then you got that fight in you, because it's tough.
Oh yeah, it's a tough business for any business. I think the statistics are like after the first year, 50% of businesses fail. Any business, after 2 years, it's like 75, and after you pass, I think it's like a 5 or 7 mark. If you pass that, the odds of you making it actually increase after that. It's like once you pass that first hurdle of any business, it's very, very hard to run a business. People think it's like glamorous and cool, and driving Ferraris and Bentleys, and so it's not that. So you're gonna be worried with people that do that, because it's not glamorous. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of determination, and making the right choices. And looking around here, instead of buying your Ferrari or whatever, you bought equipment and stuff that grow your business.
Yeah.
Instead of buying my Lambo, I have a case of Zeiss Supreme Prime lenses.
You have a Lambo of case of lenses.
I always tell me that's my midlife crisis case. So
it's the pride and joy.
Yeah, but this is just sacrificing, and those things that we invest in later on when we're going to retire or whatever will lead to, you can travel the world, you can buy your Lambo there if you want. But you have to put the time in, and there's no easy, fast way to do it. There's like a lot of YouTubers will tell you different. Yeah. But that's not stable, and it's not something you can rely on.
Yeah, that sustained success, I think, is what's difficult for a lot of people. And showing up every day, coming in with everything, whether it's your mood, your health, your family's health, anything. It's very difficult to keep the pace up and going and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a crazy, tough world in advertising, but I've learned a lot. I've had other people that did advertising in El Paso are like, man, it's tough doing advertising just in general as a business, but in El Paso it's even tougher because it's a hard market. People are like we were talking about, they'll hire somebody from New York, but not somebody from home, and give us that opportunity and stuff. But I'm a big proponent for that, and just telling people like, hey man, there's good talent here. We just got to organize and
let them know we're here. So that's a point of your podcast, and just education. El Paso is like an emerging market.
Yes.
It's grown tremendously. Things have
changed. Potential, man. There's investors investing a lot. I think the weather, other than the wind, right? I think we've got that in between the Dallas and San Antonio humidity, and then you're in between that like super hot over in Arizona. So when it's nice, but other than the wind, man, I love El Paso. I think the weather is decent. When it starts to get real windy, I'm like, why do I live here, man? It's so windy.
The people here are so welcoming. It's like, everybody I talked to along the Mission Trail, and my whole life, it's been people here are your grandma coming out of nowhere, like, come on, bring your friend, we'll make us some tacos and we'll sit down. That doesn't help. That doesn't happen everywhere in the world.
Did you grow up in El Paso? Or?
I did. Yeah, born and raised in Sleta.
Really?
So I went to in elementary school. I went to Our Lady of Mark Carmel, which is right next to the Sleta Mission. Yeah. So I saw the mission every day.
That's crazy. So I grew up there, right around the corner from there too. So
there you go. Yeah, 2 Lower Valley guys living the dream.
Yeah. So that's good information that I didn't know. So that's cool. And what was that experience like growing up, and what do you see like El Paso? Because I guess now you can see like I see it like day and night, man. Like I saw like how we grew up. It was very slow paced, like slow, and I can see like this like push for growth, and there's people like you trying to like pave the way for the film industry. Us trying to push more in the advertising agency, and just where I'm trying to go out of town and bring business back here, telling companies like, look, our prices are great here, and we have really good talent, and we're hungry, man. So what has that whole thing been for?
I guess El Paso from 1920s all the way to 1970s was like it.
Yeah.
We were like the place. There were like celebrities here, and presidents, and movie premieres, and it was like the jewel of like the Southwest.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the 80s and 90s, we had like some not so good leadership and some questionable, practices, and kind of move stuff out. It wasn't until like the early 2000s that kind of the FBI came and kind of cleaned house in our entire government. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
That we started to kind of limp along. We have like very
Yeah.
awesome philanthropists here that helped along the way, like Mr. Hunt and Foster and the other people that kind of grew our city. So we're like about 20 years behind, but we're moving in the right direction finally.
Yeah.
There's a resurgence now, you know.
I'm happy for it, man, and I'm pushing for it. You know, like I when I got out of college and I was like, all right, I'm ready for that big job that you promised me. Like, where's everybody, right? So, you know, I wanted to make a change in that and try to bring respectable positions for people and bring innovation and technology. That's been my big thing, though. I love the creative side of things. It was always technology, but for a while though too, I remember you ran an audio studio, right?
I had a recording studio.
A recording studio, yeah, because I had it recording studio as well, but it was out of my garage. And then you had your place, and it was like coming up, and we took a stab at that. What was the whole inspiration behind that?
Well, I guess it was like a little basement office. I was like, well, what are the advantages of being in the basement? I was like, well, there's no windows and it's full of concrete, so the sound and the editing is awesome. Any kind of post production. So we built a little room, we built a little control room, and it was primarily like voiceovers and audiobooks, but we did have some musicians come our way.
Yeah.
And I just watched some of the engineers, audio engineers that do music, kind of do that, and it was a cool experience. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
From those other audio engineers, because I don't know anything about music, but you learn from everybody. Like, you know, it's this journey of ours. We're going to run across different people that do different things. You learn a little something from everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? But it's been a long road. I used to. My first office was on Montana. I think it's the Lubingo office now.
Yeah.
And it was like owned by my friend Chris Swan, who's an operations manager at Channel 7. And I had like a big like folding table, and I had like my computer there and my editing stuff. And I had like a camera and a tripod. And and I did a trade with Mr. Swan for some production work for the rent at a little space there. And that's how I started back in almost 16, 15 years ago now.
That's good, man. That's good that you share that, because like I tell the younger guys too, that, you know, like sometimes you got to make that sacrifice, and you got to be creative and crafty when you don't have that capital, you know, to be able to, but you can do it. I mean, that's the proof. You just said, I worked a deal with him. I did trade, and he lent me the building, you know, similar like how I got my studio started was Morris Piddle over at Two Tongue Creativity, you know, gave me an office space in there because he needed an audio engineer. And I'm like, yeah, do you mind if we record people on the side? And, you know, so we were both, he loved music. So it just kind of made sense. And I was recording Radio La Chusma at the time. So with Ernie. And so it just kind of like came together. So I was like very, very thankful for him to just give me that opportunity to have that, because I would have never had that space and stuff.
Oh, that's good advice. And, you know, some of the kids get intimidated when they see you or I, and we all said, we didn't start there. We didn't say, here's an office, here's a bunch of stuff, here's some clients, you know?
Yeah.
It's a path like this. And, you know, you never say you can't afford something, you can't do something. You say you need to figure out a way to afford it.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe buy a used one, or maybe like, you know, do a trade, or maybe like, you know, put some of my credit card and some in cash. Like you figure out ways to make this happen, to buy the stuff you need, because the equipment is very, very expensive at that level, you know, as you know. For sure.
Devin, you know, started with me when he was 15 years old. He's 21 now, right, Devin? 20. And that's one of the big advices that I gave him was like, look, man, a lot of people are going to take that profit and go straight to the pocket, man, and start buying all sorts of shit. Like, invest it in your tools, because that tool is going to help you make more money. And as you grow, you have more value, right? You have more stuff, so you're able to make more and grow your stuff. Now,
it's perception.
Yeah.
Like, I know they say like it's a tool of the craftsman, and I've heard that, and there's some truth to that. But the finest craftsmen have the finest tools.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see like, you know, $200 million movies being shot with like DSLRs or anything. Yeah. You know,
exactly.
You know, so they can, but they, you know, I don't think Roger Deakins goes to Amazon, buy some LED lights and stuff to use this thing. No, they use the finest things.
Yeah.
It's a soup, you know.
Yeah.
If one thing is a little off, the taste of the soup goes down a little bit, but still pretty good. But if all the things are off, then the soup's going to be terrible.
On what you guys are doing at Star Central, do you guys also teach the kids or teach the students the business side of things and like give them some tips on that side? Because I think that's probably one of the secrets, right, to be able to stay. Because you can be, I mean, you probably met so many talented people like I have, but they just don't have the work ethic. They don't have the, they do what they say, right? They don't have that part of it. And so are you guys giving some tips on that end?
If they ask, a lot of people are not interested in doing that because that's very difficult.
Yeah.
They just want to go and have a job and, pay their bills and take a vacation every now and then, and they're happy with that.
Yeah.
There's very few crazy people like us that want to go and start a business and have employees, and that's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, man.
Not everybody can do that.
Even like on training our stuff, like we were sitting around thinking about it, and I've always thought about this for a while, but recently we started working on a video training curriculum for our team. But then it could be anything, like right now I'm working on a 15-part series with Brian. We're doing sales, just to go sales. So it just kind of like, first of all, I've never had a sales department in MonsterLink, but now we're just like, okay, we've reached this far. We've done it with no sales. Imagine what we would accomplish if we actually were aggressive with sales and stuff. So we started putting together this training material. So we're taking a stab at that, like doing training, even like when we sell video and stuff like that, like there's a lot of questions that get asked. So we're like, man, we need to create these like short 60-second, 120-second videos explaining like, okay, what's the setup going to be like? When I send you, like, what do you need to do as a client to be prepared when we show up, right? Because these are always things I'm always repeating myself about. So I'm like, you know what, we're going to do video, hoping that one day, because I'm sure that here soon AI is going to take over the way they give those, the way that if somebody wants to find that out, all that information is just going to be like a click of a button. You're going to talk to the machine and say, hey, do you guys offer video services? The AI will answer. It'll be an AI generated representative. And all that, but we started doing the video series, and I'm experimenting with it right now, and I just feel like media today, there's more need for media. All my owners, all the businesses that we work for, I'm saying, look, everything you have, let's digitize it, because AI will be able to read it in the future. You won't need manuals and all of this stuff, man. So we're trying to push that way with film, and we do our own stuff just to show them examples like, look, you guys can do it. This is the way I planned it. This is how long it took me to get it done and stuff. And hopefully one day we'll have a library where people can just type in, or they go to our website and they say, hey, do you guys offer, video services? Yeah, we can tell them the packages, and then they can look at videos to see how the example of what that setup, what the crew will look like that'll show up, what they'll need to prepare. So that's my thought process, like thinking in the future of how can we better sell the services. But what do you think like we need to do from a video standpoint to move that forward, to better serve people, to better make these movies and produce movies of the future?
Well, I think you're on the right track by doing sales training, because that's the lifeblood of any business.
Yeah.
A lot of creatives especially get in the trap of like, but I'm the best graphic designer there is, or I'm the best this, or I'm the best that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you can't sell it. It's not worth anything. You have to kind of have the art and science and the business skills all in one to make it in any kind of creative industry. But as far as like any like corporate videos, like, I know there's a joke like the more boring the video, the more money you're making. But that's where it's at. That will fund your dreams. All the artists like you want to go shoot a maquila.
Yeah,
like they'll pay $10,000 for you to shoot it, and and you'd be surprised a lot of people will turn that down.
Yeah,
they're like, no, that's not artistic. It's boring. That's blah blah. But the thing is, like, well, it's your job as an artist to make it not boring, to make it look as good as possible.
Absolutely. And we're visual creatures, right? So it's just more powerful. I always tell owners when we go into meetings, I said, if I would have sent you an email or a document of this presentation, it wouldn't be as potent, right? If I sent you pictures, it would be a little bit more potent, but it wouldn't be as potent as if I just got in front of the camera, or I'm here live with you and I'm walking you through the steps to answer all of your questions, right? And so that's where I'm like pushing people into doing more media, more get in front of the camera, which takes people that are green, that have never been in front of a camera, and say, this is what it's like. Here's some tips for you to prepare. At first, you're going to look terrible. You're going to look like shit. but over time it gets better. It's like riding a bike. At first it's kind of sketchy, and then you pick it up. So how do you coach people through that process and stuff? Like when you guys work stuff, like is that one of?
Well, I guess like content is not, like you said, it's not just for rich, powerful Fortune 500 companies anymore. It's for everybody.
Yeah.
Because we're a content driven society now. Everything is content based, and especially video based.
Yeah.
But I kind of assess the person's skills. Like being in front of a camera and doing a presentation is a skill.
Yeah.
The skill that a lot of people have.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, unfortunately, it's a skill that sometimes you can't train them to do either.
Yeah.
It's either you have personality and charm or you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
So I try to kind of gauge their enthusiasm and their skills by presenting that. And if they don't have it, like the last resort is to hire like some kind of spokesperson or somebody else from their company.
Yeah.
They can kind of take that role or do a professional voiceover or just have B-roll of them while there's a professional voiceover, like doing their thing, or say one line, or, there's like all kinds of balances, sometimes when you have somebody say 3 or 4 lines in a row, it's very, very difficult. So just do one line at a time. So I tell them the line, tell them just repeat after me. I say the line and they repeat it. Repeat after me.
What's your favorite process within the whole process of filming? Is it the creation and like the producing? Is it the actual filming and the angles? Is it the lighting and the setup, or is it the final edit? What part of it do you like doing the most and working on? Like if you have the chance to do it whenever you're.
Well, I guess a lot of people think that the creativity of the advertising agency is going to gauge whether you're successful or not. And it's not absolutely not true. That what's going to make you successful or not is the own client's creativity.
Yeah.
If they have a creative product, if they're innovating something, like that's going to sell itself. You can just, do the most boringest video ever and it'll still be effective. But I guess my favorite part is just like, is telling people stories, like sometimes instead of somebody's really bad on camera, like you were talking about earlier, it's like, what if I do an interview with them?
Yeah.
And just talk to me. And I take little snippets from that and make like a little story about how they started, like, 30 years ago and how they started from here and now they're here, those are the things that people want to see. Is like telling people stories. I think is probably the thing I enjoy doing the most. And I know I have to shoot like, doctors and lawyers on green screen sometimes, but you do what you got to do to make it happen.
I love that part of it too, man. I love the creativity part. I've for many years have dabbled in doing like skits and funny skits and stuff like that for the longest time. It's kind of my thing just because of that, just to be able to be creative and come up with something and then just get a reaction out of people. I think that's what interests me too, the creative part. I always tell the guys, like, I'd rather be out here filming with you guys than being in the goddamn office, man, like dealing with people and trying to explain shit, like, because I'm a creative and I want to be creative. And, and I feel like when I'm doing that, I'm happiest, but when we're filming a lot of the time, like you said, I get clients that come to me and say, I want my video to look like this, right? And they show you a Lambo and a multi-million-dollar house. And then they're like, okay, set me up with a house. And you show up and it's like a dump. And it's like, it's never going to look the same, right? Like you said, sometimes it takes.
Managing expectations.
It's what the client is bringing to the table, right? So it's a big thing. It's one of the things that I'm always telling clients, like, you got to match apples for apples. Like, it's not, you got to be realistic.
I want a commercial looks like Applebee's. Well, give me an Applebee's budget. Don't look like that.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. We've had that. They're like, make my video look like Twin Peaks, right? Or whatever it is. And we're like, we're on a one DSLR with one light and mini crew, it's like, no, it's not going to work that way.
Well, now we have all the resources, so I never tell a client no.
Yeah.
No matter how ridiculous their thing is. It's like, I want it to look like whatever, like a national spot. I want it to look like this.
I think that's the challenge part.
I just give them a quote.
Right? Yeah.
I never say no.
Yeah.
It's gonna be $25,000.
Yeah.
And every now and then you're surprised. Okay.
Yeah.
So now all these filmmakers have these resources. You don't have to have a $250,000 camera package. You can rent it. And guess who's paying for the rental? The client. As part of their list. So now anybody can do a national ad now. Anybody can do a big production now because we have all the resources necessary. That's how you do it in big cities.
Yeah.
Like all these like agencies in like Los Angeles, New York, they don't have like all this production gear. They rent it.
Yeah.
and they charge the client for it.
What do you think of all the like the wave of AI editing that's coming in now for film and stuff? Have you messed with any of that stuff? And what's
I see
your
some stuff. It's kind of like its infancy. I don't think it's quite going to replace a human necessarily quite yet. I don't know. Maybe not in our lifetime, but eventually it might will. You know, but
yeah.
Because machine doesn't have any experiences.
Yeah.
When you are creative or when you think of something, it's because of you can relate to something or you experience something that you draw inspiration from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? I'm not scared of it necessarily right now. I don't think that it's going to completely ruin the film industry. It's kind of like you buy a camera and it's like you put on like fully automatic.
Yeah.
There's even a thing where it's like autofocus and auto iris and auto this and auto that. You're taking like creative pictures with it, not corporate pictures, like landscapes and things like
even
that.
portraits and stuff, man. I'm seeing people like they just take a regular picture, AI portrait, and it
kind of takes the fun out of it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The labor I see, like there'll always be a need for somebody to man the equipment and stuff like that, but the labor of actually editing. I know that some of these guys we've been messing with it with the podcast. I know Chris was messing with it on our last podcast. It'll take all this edit and it does the whole edit. As I talk, it'll cut to me. As you talk, it'll cut to you. So it does all of that stuff. There are still some parameters, like you said, the technology is not 100% there yet. But it's interesting, even with some of the edits going in the future. I think what you'll be able to do is like get your shots right, and then you'll label them, feed them to the machine, and then it'll kick you out like maybe 10 different versions of that 10, 15 second or that 30 second that you produced. And then you can decide which one looks cool. And you're the one saying,
that's a good point. If it's something like us, two people talking, that could be done very easily.
Yeah.
But what if it's like something where I interviewed some lady about how she started her business?
Yeah.
Can the machine go in and pick all the sound bites and make it 30 seconds and like tell a story with that?
It does.
Not now, but maybe like in the future, you know?
It does that, but there's a lot of things that it like requires it to be shot in 60 and it requires it to be shot on a specific, right? Is that correct?
Is it the way that you would tell the story? And sometimes you'll never know.
Yeah, exactly.
So, is that the way I would have done it? I don't know. I didn't do it.
It's interesting, like I always have this conversation with people because of the future. I'm intrigued with the future and how technology is going to impact. And some days I'm like really optimistic and I'm like, man, this is going to work great. And then the other days I'm like, damn, we're doomed.
It's a tool. I think if you use it as a tool to grow your business.
That's how I see it. I think it's going to be a tool that'll help us and it'll help creativity. I think we're going to see the first artists that are going to be all AI generated artists. Like the songs will be written by AI and then Beyonce or somebody who's big will be performing it, like Taylor Swift will be performing it. That's how I think it's going to start. And then it'll turn into like, there's already on social media people that are personalities and they are artists, but they're all AI. Even the actual character is an AI generated.
Yeah, well, like you said earlier about your sales skills and about like how you build a rapport with a client, that's the difference. I can go on Fiverr right now and create a logo for $20. So pay some graphic artists $20 in India to do that.
Yeah,
but why don't a lot of people do that? They like big companies do that. Why not? Because they want to talk to you.
Yeah,
they want to explain like what it is to you in person. They want to have that rapport.
Yeah,
they want to yell at you at 2 a.m. when something bad happens. Like that's where the AI is completely.
You're going to be arguing with an AI.
So your business is very important to us. So that's that rapport. Like you need to have that human interaction.
Yeah.
It's not about just doing the service. Like let's say I had like zero personality and I was like, yes, I will shoot you a commercial. Oh, here it is. Thank you very much. That's not a experience.
Yeah.
You talked about like AI, like it was like, well, shooting like shot at the beach. Like, do you remember the experience of going out there with the client and shooting on the beach and looking out there and then going to dinner afterwards and talking about the shoot and all that stuff? That's where AI will never take that human interaction away between the two people. Providing the service is one thing, providing the experience is the other. Like you go to eat at McDonald's, that's not an experience. You go, you order from a little microphone, you get your food, and you get the hell out. Eating in Vegas at Wolfgang Puck, in the Venetian is the same thing. It's food. You're eating food, but it's a dramatically different experience that you'll remember. You'll remember who was there, and and have some drinks and eat like Wagyu beef and blah blah. And that's an experience.
Yeah.
So that those are two different things. It's not just a service.
Yeah, man. It's a lot changing, right? From especially from the days that we've started in film, and the gear has changed a lot too, right? You have all these huge cameras, and then now it's like
Smaller cameras.
You got Apple pushing like make a movie on your iPhone, right? And that kind of stuff. Do you ever see the game changing to where it'll be more handheld? Like when I say handheld, not DSLRs, but like
smaller.
Yeah,
it's already kind of going in that direction.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons.
Like the GoPro and stuff like that.
Like A7S 3s and
yeah.
So there's a pro and con to that. The pro is like they say, "Ro, go shoot like Chevy trucks in the desert," and of course you have like a little camera, you can like mount it on a gimbal and get some cool shots of it like driving in the desert and all that stuff, right? It's a little camera. You can do a lot. You put it in different places and drive the truck over it and do whatever you want, right? Yeah.
If it breaks, it's $400 or $200, right?
But that's cool if you're by yourself. If you're with the client wants to see what they see in the BTS in Hollywood. They want to see big cameras and map boxes and monitors and
for sure.
Yeah. So I think that like the biggest camera I have is like the FX9. It's a pretty good sized camera. Once you put the battery in the lens and the zoom lens, it's huge. It's like probably the biggest setup I have. Every time I bring that camera, which is a broadcast camera, I get the most compliments from clients. Like, it's amazing. That's it's not the most expensive camera I have. I think.
And you move it aside and you shoot with
the little thing. But the Alexa Mini and the Zeiss Supreme Prime. Zeiss Supreme Prime is about the size of my hand, and Alexa Mini is about this big. It's about that big. And a set of those and that camera is about a $200,000 camera setup. So I see that they'll see it's professional, but the FX9 that's huge. They see that like that's the camera. That's it right there. Just the perception, client perception.
Absolutely, man. We talk about it like when you have a client that comes in, the first thing is like, how should I stand, right? This is like already a cue for me that they're wanting my guidance through this process. They're probably nervous, right? So we always, I tell Devin, I tell the guys, I'm like, when somebody tells you that, go over, fix their jacket, fix their shirt, even if you're not moving shit.
Give them instructions.
Just, give them some instruction, man, because they're going to feel a lot more comfortable when you do that. And like you said, it's perception, man.
Have a hair and makeup artist. It's not expensive, and it makes a world of difference. It makes the client more comfortable.
Absolutely. They make them feel special.
Yeah. Because they know they're going to look good. That's going to be portrayed when they speak.
Yeah.
They know their hair's not messed up. They know they're not shiny. So that's a tip, I guess. Spend $100 for a makeup artist, hair makeup artist, and
there you go, guys.
Your client will love you forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah. Those are relationship building techniques with clients and stuff that I think are valuable.
And they'll pay for it, so it's not something out of your pocket.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of times you just tell the client, "Hey, we want to do this. It's going to cost $100, but the value of it is going to be."
Especially the female clients, you want hair and makeup, and 99% like, absolutely, yes, I do.
Yeah, we need somebody there to help us to be that third person, because a lot of us we're looking for that guidance, especially through this process. This can be a little bit intimidating for a lot of people. Like they get the lights and they're like, "Holy shit!" Like I've got all these lights on me and stuff like that. So it's a challenge too, but I'm really intrigued like where we're going with it. I'm always trying to like foresee like what's the next step in film, and like I'm always experimenting. Like right now we're going to work on a little docuseries for Scottsdale. Like it's going to be a reality show on social media, like showing how to start an agency from zero with no clients to building it up to 1 million and beyond. And we can fall flat on our face and in front of people and being vulnerable kind of and so it's going to have a lot of, it's going to be part of the story, and we're going to have some stuff that's going to be staged. It's going to have some stuff that will be reality, and it'll be the biggest challenging part will be how to tell those stories in mini stories, and do it, because it's something right now that we're seeing more and more young people that they're consuming. And like I talked to Sophia, and she consumes a lot of TikTok and talking about like how they do part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Like I think, and even now today, the younger crowd watches movies on their devices, right? But they're just watching little clips like of, you can watch a little clip of the Fast and the Furious, but it's just like a little so you watch movies, but exactly, you're watching a scene. It's a crazy way to consume, man, but it seems like that's where things are going to. And then if they like it, then they'll watch the whole thing. Like come to YouTube or go to Netflix. And do you see more people being able? Like I know that Netflix has really changed the game where it's opened it up for videographers or film or people in the film industry. Do you see people going independent and doing their own thing on social media? Like to where it's like, I'm going to monetize it, because you've got like Facebook and TikTok and all these are like, okay, we're going to create a monetized platform for creators, right? Do you see film people come in here and say, I'm going to put my series, I'm going to put Tex-Mex Motors, but I'm going to put it on TikTok?
Well, yeah,
at a fee.
There's some platforms that are opening up to that already. Like Amazon, you could put any movie on there. You just got to market it yourself.
Yeah.
They'll pay you for it. Like, I think YouTube is like the big elephant in the room. There's every professional or every creative that's ever lived all over the world is on there. And some of them are making millions of dollars by doing that, just by creating content, by themselves with like very little overhead of distribution and this and that, just the production cost basically.
Yeah.
And they have their own platform, and it's automatically monetized for them. And they don't need a lawyer. They don't need accountant. Well, they need accountants, but they don't need people to figure out complicated ways for distribution to happen and get paid. Like you get this many views and you get this amount of money.
Yeah,
very simple. That's the future.
That
that's already happening, and so they're only going to get more and more. That's going to be like basically the new TV. It's already like name 3 shows, network shows that are on TV right now. Can you name 3 shows? Like right now, this time, not in the past.
Yeah.
Like what is ABC's primetime lineup? Do you know what those shows are?
No, not at all.
I don't know either. And I used to work there for 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you got a point there. And so I'm always thinking about that. Like I see that trend going more and as social media and they figure out this monetizing platform and they're like doing stars where you can get paid for it. I see like, and for us, I want to experiment too, because I want to understand, because somebody hires us to do that for them. I want to say, hey, look, I've already tried it. Here's what we did. And here's our experience with doing it. And so that's why we do a lot of it too. And also to have a shitload of fun, because we like having fun. And I know these guys enjoy when we do these.
That's like your interviews, right? You interview people, you ask them questions like, who's the mayor of El Paso? And
we're experimenting with the downtown trivia. We're going to go back to doing that. That was a really successful, and we knew it right off the bat. Like as soon as we put it out and the video gets 100,000 views, like, okay, like here's some stuff. And then Devin, we were talking about it and Devin went in and he was like, look, I'm going to fix the edit to make it sound like a lot of people don't know who the mayor is, right? So it's all in the edit, and it's using these techniques that are already used in film and TV to be able to create hype, to have that anticipation, right? So it's just the way you cut it and it's the way you edit it. And we've been growing on that. And it's just showing, what I want to show on those is the skill, the creativity, the thinking outside of the box, because it's like, who the hell is going to go out, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do the stuff that most companies would be like, we're wasting our time, man. Like, what are, but I wanted to show them that there's value in this stuff, man. There's value to being social on social media.
A lot of people go there.
Yeah.
They don't go to be sold ads about like a Capital One credit card.
Yeah, exactly.
It is effective because it makes you think of them and not anybody else. But like they're there, like there's like one big African-American dude that he just goes with a cell phone. He's like, how much is your shirt? How much is your pants? Like, or like, what's your favorite designer? Like, what designer is like the most overrated? Yeah. Like, that's entertainment.
Absolutely.
That's why people are there. So like, I think
something about that, right? Just watching people.
You watch it because you want to see their answers.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of watch is that? What kind of this is that? So.
We're coming back to it. And we took at the beginning of the year, we had a lot going on with MonsterLink. We moved buildings. Our team grew. We expanded, another 2-3 members. So all of that just took a lot of, we were growing in business. Like we were having more business than ever. So all of those changes were just boggling us down, man. And we're like, let us go so we can get back to creating. Cause the creative part is what really moves us. And I think everybody here loves doing that stuff. We have a great time. We started developing characters, cause we know like in marketing, characters are big. Like as you look back, like on on some of the comic books, Lego. These are things that are dear to our heart, right? Like as when we grow up, I'm sure you have your characters, and everybody, if you ask them, is like, oh, it's Donald Duck, right? Or it's Bugs Bunny was my dude, right? Or whatever it was, right? Today it probably would be like Powerpuff Girls or something.
I'm a fan of the Ninja Turtles. Those are my
Oh
favorite
yeah,
back
yeah.
then,
Which was a great movie I just watched, but
unfortunately, I have to admit to you something. I have to go see the Barbie movie today with my girlfriend.
oh really?
I'll be Take Your Prisoner. If anybody wants to help me out, I'll be at the Cinemark on the Cielo Vista. Help me.
But all of those characters, man,
yeah.
is like what we want to experiment on. So we created, like we created Ua, who is a gorilla, is an ape, and so we are just like telling stories of who this guy is and how he came about, right? So we're getting ready to gear back up on filming, and we're gonna. Ua's been missing in action, so we want to tell what happened to him. He actually got lost after meeting a girl at the tap bar. So
it happens. Yeah.
So we want to go through the whole story, and it's just all about telling stories, right? Telling stories. Now it's more challenging because it's like, okay, tell me a story, but tell me in 7 to 15 seconds, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like that's probably the challenge that is fun for us because it's a challenge for us. But we're getting back to the El Paso trivia. We're getting back to the food eating contest or the food tasting because I thought that was pretty good. And then we're going to do the Adventures of Ua, and we're doing the docuseries, a reality show of like the behind the scenes of the day in the life of an owner of an advertising, day in the life of a videographer, day in the life of, and then just kind of showing that. And this is all just additional stuff. It doesn't bring me direct value like from a monetary standpoint, like we don't directly, but it's top of mind and people remember me like through that. Like the other day when you reached out, it was probably because you were watching social media and you probably saw a video and like, yeah, I remember I needed to reach out to Raul.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw a drone shot and I was like, oh, that's right, I need some more drones.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell people like that's how social media works. It's not it's not going to be like a direct hard sale call to action, but it just pings people to remind them, hey, we're here and this is what we do. And this is like, if you're you're looking for clothes, I'm the guy for you. I print shirts or whatever, right?
Yeah, top line awareness and, as needed services.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can brand like a law firm.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets hurt in an accident every day, right?
Oh man, I'm trying to, every client, especially my older clients, I'm always talking to them about like, because they want the logo and everything, man. Like I need the logo in the middle, in the side. I'm like, well,
on my face, everything.
Yeah. And I'm like, look, I get it, guys, I get it, but the branding doesn't happen overnight. It's a we built the brand up, right? It's like building a business. And I said, and most of the time, you look at social media, the whole bottom and the left and the top corners are already taken by TikTok, by Instagram. If you look, your logo's already on there. It's your profile, and people click on it, right? So we're always having this back and forth with trying to educate people. Like, no, I need my phone number on there because how are they going to read it to call
my
me?
Address.
Yeah,
I need to put my address on there. I was like, this is not 1972.
Yeah,
go on this thing called Google.
Well, I even ask them like, all right, do you know your son, all your kids, and your wife's phone number? They're like, oh, you know what? I don't even memorize it anymore. Like, yeah.
But you can name 3 lawyers and 3 car dealerships on top of your head. You can't name the ABC primetime lineup, so that kind of tells you where it's going. And the advertising works.
Yeah, exactly right. You can tell me what are the trending TikTok stories, but you can't tell me what's going on ABC Prime, right?
I have no idea. Man, I'm kind of embarrassed that I worked there so long. And I know there's news, and I know like what they had like 20 years ago. But I don't know. I have no idea what they have now. I think they had Modern Family at one time. I like that show. But do you guys know what's on ABC tonight? Yeah, there you go. There's your focus.
They're all in their 20s, man. So they're going to be like, no.
I'm in my 40s. I don't even know.
This is what I try to tell owners. It's like, it's a changing game, man. And the game is different and it's not the same way. It's not that hard sale to try to shove my business down your throat type shit. It's not like, okay, I get it. I'm paying $20,000 to run this on TV. It needs to have my logo through the whole 15 seconds, right?
And the address. Don't forget the address.
Yeah, the address. And it needs to be long enough for them to write it down and go grab a paper, right?
Yeah, because we're not going to do that. I guess that's how you did it back in the 80s, right? You have to write it down really fast. There's no TiVo. There's no nothing. You're like, oh, there's a lawyer I want.
How are you? I know one of the things that we struggle with is like A lot of stuff we're starting to shoot in vertical. We do some stuff in horizontal. When you're shooting for like something like the Mission Trail, are you shooting in horizontal then going and cutting it in vertical, or are you doing both, or how like how are you navigating that world, man? Because I know that's something like these guys are always at. We already have our mounts on, like every guy has a mount now because we're having to switch back and forth. They're like, hey Ro, is this for social media, are we doing website stuff, or what is it for? Because we know that it just gives a better quality when you if it's going to be in vertical, that you shoot it vertically. I mean, some of the drones now, they're doing like the automatic vertical, like the camera will turn. Like, how are you navigating that world? And
Well, it's a campaign that's strictly for social or something short or something. You probably shoot it vertical or frame for vertical.
Yeah.
But if it's something like for broadcast, like the Mission Trail documentary, you can't shoot that vertically. You have to shoot it 16:9. And that's the way it's going to live forever and ever and ever. You know, there's no vertical version of like doc style or tourism commercials or some commercials in general. Like I haven't seen too many vertical commercials.
I tell the guys too, like, look, if the primary source or the primary place it's going to be placed at is TV, let's do it horizontal. And if we need to do cuts for social media, we'll go in, we'll cut it vertical. Yes, I know we're going to lose some quality.
And the interviews will be weird.
Yeah, we'll work around it and stuff. And these guys are really creative on finding ways around those little hurdles.
Product shot. They did that one for Wing Daddies was a vertical. It was like product shots are easy, but interviews are very difficult. Because it's either going to be like, they're have like this, or they're going to be like, the screen's going to be here, or, so it's not designed for that,
Yeah, it's kind of hard, especially if you go in tighter and stuff, and then you turn it, you're like super in their face and stuff like that. But it's the world we're navigating. We're always trying to innovate and rethink the way that we show up as a team, like how we set up, how like I'm always telling the guys, like, if you see something, man, and it's not working, like break it. I don't care. Like, let's figure it, or let's rethink it. If it's annoying and it's not working for us, let's take it to the next level, or let's figure out a different way. So I'm always about that with them, and I'm like, shit, if you guys got a better way, bring it forward, man. I'm all for it. I'm all ears for it. So I think that helps. But we're always doing that, especially like stuff where we got to be moving in, shoot it vertical, shoot it. Can you do that one more time, sir? They get annoyed with us, but like we navigate through that world. So what's the next big thing? Like, what are the big projects that you're working on other than the Mission Trail project?
Well, we still have. I guess we're going to grow the nonprofit. We're going to try to get that film fund going. That's be a big one.
Yeah.
Do workshops also with the school districts. Just kind of switch to the nonprofit world. That's kind of like my retirement plan. If I could just do rentals and run a nonprofit, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm still pretty much very engaged in the advertising agency world. It kind of limits who my clients are. I kind of work with clients I like and I get along with. I don't really go out and hit the pavement or make cold calls or anything.
It's important, man. I think that's the big thing. Like we talk about that, like let's find good matches, man, because some people are pains in the asses. I know you can relate to that, where they're unrealistic about their expectations, and it's really
or just mean, or just have a condescending attitude, or
it's really.
We fired a few clients who are just like being rude to our staff, or it's like that. It's just like there's a line.
Yeah, and the way you can ask for stuff, and
sometimes it's you have to put your integrity first and your employees of your well-being first.
Absolutely, man.
Rather than the money,
Yeah, you're gonna run off good people because you got this client that's yelling at people, or
calling them names or whatever.
Yeah, it's silly. So
there's no need for that, but you'd probably experience that and probably do the same thing. But
absolutely. I mean, at first we couldn't because we needed the money, but now we're at the point where, we are trying to identify a match. And even in this sales material, I have just one module just for, is it a good match? How can you tell if it's a good match for the company? And obviously sometimes you won't know. It's like a relationship. Once you're in it, then it's like, oh yeah, what did I do? It's not right. But for the most part, you can tell up front, like how they are, what they're about. Are they going to give you the time, or they expect you to create miracles while they're out vacationing the world, right?
Well, some of the clients that have the biggest budgets are the easiest.
Yeah.
It's the ones, those little small ones that comes directly out of their pocket, and they feel that burn.
True.
They're the ones that will be calling you like every 10 minutes and be like very meticulous and being like, demanding and change their minds a lot because they're not educated on how it works. So, but we all start somewhere. We all have like the little mom and pop or the little cupcake shop we start off with, you know.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I always tell the guys is like, guys, some of these people, this is their lifeline, this is their last dollars, man. So just remember that, and, and just show that.
You say no a lot, you know. You tell people like, you know, I don't feel right. Like marketing is not going to solve your problem. You can't take a business is doing bad and then market it and it's going to do good.
Yeah.
So
you got to have a good product. You have a good base product, and
yeah.
And a lot of times we get into like giving them advice, like, hey, the guy at the front desk, he's rude.
Yeah, that's part of it. You know, marketing does not save a family business.
Yeah,
a lot of people get desperate. They think that marketing is like their answer.
Yeah,
but you know, I probably have seen you go to a business, you can tell right away, like this guy's organized, this guy's not going to make it, this girl's not going to make it, this girl's going to make it, whatever, you know.
Absolutely,
right away. And that's probably part of your modules. Like, are they going to make it? Are they going to? Do they know what they're doing? Are they organized?
That's a good one.
Because you're going to get blamed. You're going to get blamed if anything goes bad.
Yeah.
Because if I have a cupcake shop and the cupcakes are terrible, or the guy is rude or whatever, you know, we market it. You know what happens to their business? They fail faster.
Yeah.
You know, all these reviews, like go out there and people.
Can we turn off the reviews? I'm like, can we just do a better job?
Yeah, I've heard that probably more times than I'd want to hear. You know? So yeah, it's like they want you to run the business sometimes, and you have to kind of stay in your lane and be like, I don't run your business.
Yeah,
I don't know your margins. I don't know all this stuff. I'm here to provide a service to you. And
did you ever think of starting an agency where you give consulting advice, because you probably give so much of it?
I have, and I have that in my. I actually took that off my service list because I'm not going to consult you into success. You know, most people, like, you know, marketing is for successful businesses to become more successful.
Absolutely,
and that's it. It's not for failing businesses, not for necessarily for like startups as you're capitalized, which most of them are not.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I'm sorry. There's some things I can tell them to do on their own for free. They can help them out a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you're at a point where you're hired to advertise the agency, then you have to have it together.
That's facts, man. You know? I love the way you said that, because with business owners, a lot of the time, I have a saying that says that I tell the guys all the time, like, look, if they don't understand what we do, they're not going to respect what we do. And if they don't respect what we do, we're not going to succeed at the end of the day, man, because they don't believe in what we're doing. They've got to help us too.
If you have to explain to them like why marketing is important, then that's dead in the water.
Yeah. They
should already know that. Yeah. And they should be looking for candidates to execute like their plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. You can't educate the client into believing in trusting your service.
Yeah.
You know, it's either they get it already and they're looking for a vendor to do that, or they don't. That's it. There's no in between. All these little small businesses, you know, they're going to have to figure it out on their own. They're going to have to grow to a point where they can hire a professional to do that. You know, you're not going to go into their little business and you know, run it for them.
That's one of the reasons why we started doing our own social media thing, man. Just because we wanted to show people like, we know what the hell we're doing, because look at our page. We're giving you a template. Like, we showed you we could do it, and I did it with my own budget. And you know, like my business is a lot more boring than yours. You know, like you own a bar, you whatever it is, right? You're in the entertainment business. You have a fun product that we can, you know, have a ton of content. You know, so yeah, but that's a really good point, and I think. I learned that a lot. We did it through the Texas Workforce Commission. We did a contract where we were doing websites, and really the goal was to bring people into into the new century where we're using technology and all that. But one of the things I learned is like 90% of the owners I dealt with probably didn't deserve to even be in business. Not when I say deserve, it's not like
you're just
like I deserve it. They weren't cut out.
It was a miracle that they're in business.
Exactly. I was like, how are these people standing? They're not capable of doing it, man. And I see a lot of holes. And now, like, even with myself, I consider myself to be more technologically savvy. I consider myself to be a little bit more sound when it comes to accounting and managing stuff like that. But a lot of these people, I'm like, I don't even know how they're operating, man. like they're probably doing this kind of number,
Well,
right?
they know their craft, but they don't know the administrative side of
That's a great thing, because a lot of people say, "Hey, well, you're great at cooking. Start a business." Like, no, don't start a business. Like,
these are the best tacos ever. You can start a franchise tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Who sells the most tacos and the most hamburgers? It's not the best ones.
What do you use to navigate that world, to like educate? What, did you read books, or did you?
I learned it the hard way, sir.
Yeah. Same here. Guilty.
I don't think you learned that in business school.
Yeah.
You don't learn like how to evaluate the client to see like if they have it together, how to manage the landmines and the red flags that you see.
Yeah.
So I think that until the point where I can walk into a business and within probably about 10 minutes I can tell you whether this is going to be successful or it's going to fail.
Yeah.
Most of it's the product, I guess, a uniqueness of the product, but
Yeah.
a lot of it's the organization and the management.
Absolutely.
The more organized a person is, the more that they know their margins, that's
Yeah.
the person that's going to succeed.
Yeah.
Like my clients at Wing Daddies, they don't not only know the price of each straw, they know the price of each wrapper of the straw. That's,
Absolutely.
they have it together.
Yes.
So when I ask them, like, well, what kind of specials can we do? We're going to give away free fried pickles with every entree. Why that? Because the food cost now is like 25 cents.
Yep.
I was like, brilliant.
We've started to do that where clients right off the bat, I tell them your success is going to depend on your involvement. How available are you? I know you're a doctor, you're a surgeon. I know you're a busy man. We can help you to get to, but being a good surgeon and being a good businessman are two different things, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
And if you give us your time and you dedicate, an hour a week to listening to what the feedback we're giving you, we're making adjustments, we're working together to understand your product, we're going to have a lot of success together. Right. And it's one of those things. It's probably one of the things that this is why we'd like develop a lot of this stuff. Recently, I've started recording every single meeting.
Oh, wow.
So everything is documented. And so that when the client goes into their folder, they can go back to every single meeting to go back to make sure that we're accountable for what we say and they're being accountable for what they say. Right. And also, too, if they have partners or people that couldn't attend the meeting, they can go back and attend the meeting. And for our staff too, because that's one of the hardest parts is like keeping the team cohesive, because we have different departments now. Even though the office is there and the other office is down the hall, that communication gets kind of broken along the line. So we're just trying to innovate and trying to experiment with other ways that we can do. And it's another way that we're using video to be able to stay on the same page. But those are the things that I tell owners, like, you got to be involved, man. That's how we're going to take things to the next level. And it's like you said, it's going to show, you can tell in 10 minutes who are the ones that care and who are the ones that don't really care.
Or don't have it together, or care, but don't have the skills, or,
Yeah.
It's running a business is very hard. I think after the first year, it's like 50% or something like that. You're going to fail. So
yeah, by year 5, I think it's like 98% of all businesses failed, and there's only 2%.
And then after 7, I think it's the other way around. It switches.
Yeah.
You'll have a 90% chance of making it now.
Yeah.
So
at what point did you realize, like, I got what it takes, like to do this, because I'm sure, like myself, there's a lot of doubts also early on. But I've learned at this point, like, shit, I'm a rare breed, man. Like,
the people, the business owners that make it are the ones that have doubts.
Yeah.
Are the ones that kind of like second guess themselves sometimes and be like, those are the people that are the most intelligent and the most business savvy. The people that think they know everything are arrogant and condescending are the people that are going to fail.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to take their time to learn the fact that they don't know everything.
Yeah.
And that they're going to think that they're going to operate this vacuum and have the blinders on that they know everything. They're the greatest ever and they're awesome in so many ways.
They're the same owners that are telling you, can you have all your friends write reviews for me?
Yeah.
And do things like that.
Like, I'm amazing. And like, it's giant D-bags, basically. You probably dealt with some of those.
Yes.
That's kind of like my pet peeve of the worst person I cannot tolerate. And people that I've fired before because of that attitude.
They're trying to cut corners everywhere they go.
And they treat you like you're a second class citizen, like you're down here, and they talk to you like you're like a peon and stuff like that. And like, no, I don't work for you. And if I did, that's how you talk to your employees.
Yeah.
I've had like all kinds of people like, well, we don't have to talk to the help about that. The help.
Yeah.
But right in the 1800s, like, like that's your employee, but. that's the personalities are very important because you're dealing with other humans, and humans have personalities.
Yeah.
So
that's the other thing, right? To navigate and how to be able to adapt with different personalities, especially when you're running a marketing agency, because you got the different personality types. And with those personality types, you got to, they treat different. There's some people that like the wine and dine and the red carpet treatment, right? Like you said, I'll bring out the big lights for this guy because he loves that. It's a pat on his back. And the guys that are just like, Gilbert, get it done. I respect you and what you're going to do. And I trust everything you do, get it done.
Yeah, those are the ideal clients. So are we giving advice to people not to go into this crazy business? Don't do it. Be an engineer.
Right.
Work a day job. Yeah.
I always tell people, come on with it, and come day in the life, man. Come see my world and see how my personal life and which is none, is zero.
Your clients are your only friends after a while. Your employees,
literally, they're the only people I'm talking about. On my birthday last night, I'm texting these guys about texts and shit that's on my thing, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's my birthday, man.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you.
So how young are you? What, 20,
I'm 40,
29?
42, man. I'm 42 now. So
same boats.
Yeah.
I'll be 42 in December.
Yeah. So it's been a long time coming, man, but I feel good. I've had my ups and downs, but I still have the fire to innovate. I still have the fire to grow. I picture myself like having the agency be 100 employees, and I know you probably think you're crazy.
Hey, somebody's got to do it. It's not going to be me. I'm going to go in a completely different direction.
I know you and I have had that conversation before, but I do see it because I'm a tinker, and I like to kind of like experiment with stuff, and I want to try. I know scaling, and I've talked to a bunch of owners, people that have already scaled their business. They're like, it's just easy. Just get out of the business. Let other people run it for you. And I'm like, you don't understand. There's a lot of moving parts to this. It's not just like flipping burgers.
It's different agency. Like, they don't want to talk to another person. They want to talk to you.
Exactly.
The clients will get offended if you send them an AE or something sometimes.
Absolutely. They're like, Raul's too busy for me. I'm going to brush.
Yeah, they get offended. They're sensitive sometimes. Yeah. I've had that myself when I started to scale myself.
Yeah.
It didn't work. People,
it's hard.
People are used to calling you directly.
Yeah.
And even if you have an AE assigned or whatever, they're still going to call you directly because they feel like, you always feel like a little bit more empowered when you know the owner of the company, whatever a company it is, right?
Yeah.
If you're like at a restaurant and like the manager,
you feel the red carpet treatment. Yeah. Like, Raul's going to make it happen for me. Yeah.
I know the owner. I'm going to call him directly.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's the thing that we've got to figure out to let people know that we've got the expertise within the whole team. And then like if things don't get taken care of, they can always call me and we'll get it done. But it's finding that fire in those AEs or those people that are going to be.
Well, the AE got the client. It's different because they've had that relationship from the beginning. If it's your client that you've nurtured or had for years and you pawn it off to a salesperson, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're not going to like that transition. So yeah, we're doing that whole mix, and it's been a learning process. Like that's been how my lessons have been learned. A lot of it hard learned lessons where it's like cost me thousands and thousands of dollars a lot of time or headaches. But
that's the best way to learn. That's the PhD in screwing up there.
Yeah, for sure. Like Michael Jordan said, right? He took a bunch of shots that he missed to actually. People just remember him for the shit he made, but he probably took 10 times as many shots that he failed. So,
that's you can't be afraid to fail. So when we're little, we're taught like if you fail, it's very bad.
Yeah,
a lot of people saw that mentality, and crazy people like business owners don't. They're gonna fail. They're like, well, that didn't work. Let me try this. That didn't work. Let me try this. So you have to be kind of somewhat like insane, I guess, to start owning your own small business. But the people that think that they can are crazy enough to think they can change the world are often the ones that do, right?
Absolutely, man. And that's good that you're paving the lane and taking that mentality into the film industry, because I think that's what it takes to change the game, man. And at least if we pave a little bit of the road, man, and maybe somebody else can help us push it along forward. But the fact that you're doing that, I respect that a lot.
Well, I don't plan on executive producing any movies, but I do plan on getting the resources necessary to start an industry and grow and create jobs in my city,
I see you even giving a lot of good input from a business standpoint to people to do it, because you have the creatives that are super creative, but they have no business sense to put it together. So I think that that you can definitely help paving that.
At the end of the day, you have to make your client money. That's what you're there for. Not to make pretty pictures or pretty photos or
That's what I tell the guys. I'm like, look, all the video shit doesn't matter to the client, man, if the statistics aren't there. So the statistics, like, we have to show numbers. We have to show that we're performing. At the end of the day. At the end of the day, you can have the coolest video, but all of that's not going to matter if the numbers are not there. So.
That's correct, sir.
Yeah. So, all right, Gilbert. Well, I think what are we at, Devin? Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap. I can stay talking to you forever on video shit because we have a lot of very similar interests. But I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come chat with me here, man. And I was telling the guys that I'm really happy that, like, we have this platform that we're doing, that we're bringing everybody in the industry. I've had Ebert on the podcast. I've had Raul. There are two pioneers that, like, have really been working on the video industry here in El Paso for some time, and so I wanted to have like a voice from everybody and get everybody's perspective. So we appreciate you
thanks for
coming
doing this
and sharing. Yeah, thanks you also for doing what you're doing in the film industry, man. Like, whatever we can do here to spread the word and help you get the word out, always send those videos to me, man. I'm more than happy to share that and do my part to let people know of the resources that are out there, because I think that a lot of the times we don't know. A lot of these guys, the way that, like, Devin, literally, Raul went and gave he went and gave a talk or a seminar right at Socorro High School, and he was in the crowd, and he was the only student that walked up at 15 years old to ask him questions. So sometimes that's what it takes, guys, for you to take the initiative, ask questions, inform yourself. Gilbert's working really hard to put this information out there in the public so that you guys can take advantage of the resources that are there and the grant dollars that are out there. You guys might even be able to get paid to go learn film. So it's a no-brainer, guys. So take advantage of that. Gilbert, again, thanks. We're definitely going to have to come back, do a round two as the nonprofit grows. I would love to follow your journey, man. So thanks
for your support, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Next one.
Thanks. We'll see you guys on the next one. That's a wrap.